WQOX. It is Brother John, your brother from another mother like no other. And today, you know what it is. It's Homegrown Excellence. And today we have another excellent, shining star from Shelby County Schools that graduated from Bolton High School. I'm not going to say the year, but he graduated from Bolton High School. And I don't really want to spill the beans. I want y'all to hear from him, but we welcome Mr. Courtland Perry.
Thank you, John. I appreciate you having me.
All right. So, real quick, how it goes down at Homegrown Excellence, somebody that graduated from Legacy Memphis City Schools or Shelby County Schools that's doing something big in the community or just making some noise, we want to spotlight you. And it's a twofold, two win-win, I would say, effect, because we're spotlighting you, but we also showing all the children in Shelby County Schools that you can make it, because the people that we're spotlighting was in the same seats. Okay?
Right.
All right, y'all. So Courtland Perry, man, look, I'm so excited because I kind of know a little bit, but I'm anxious for you all to hear it. Courtland Perry, start us off. Take us back to Bolton High School. 16 years old, what happened?
Well, I just turned 16. It was the beginning of my sophomore year, and my next-door neighbor, Wayne, he got a job at Kroger off of Germantown. And I was like, I need a job, because just a week before that, I was cleaning the garage out like my parents told me to, and I sprayed my dad's speakers.
Uh-oh.
And I sprayed the top of the garage and took off all the paint up there.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what got into me, but my parents pretty much told me I got to pay for it, and wherever I work, my first check's going to them. Okay. So at 15, I had to go ahead and find a job, do something, because they were serious.
Okay.
And so I decided to go up to Kroger off of Germantown. It was the Trinity Commons Kroger.
Okay.
And I applied for a job, and at that point I was 15 years old, and by the time I started working for the company, I was 16. And I started off as a courtesy clerk, and I was still in high school. I stayed with Kroger up until I got to college, because I ended up getting a scholarship to run track at the University of Memphis. And while I was running track, whenever we weren't in town, whenever we weren't out of town, I would work at the Kroger store, and I worked 1 day during the week and 2 days on the weekend, a total about 20 hours. Wow. That was more than enough for me while I was in college, because it didn't take much. And I literally worked my way up through college, and the company worked with me, because my schedule changed consistently throughout school, because with the track schedule and with school, they work with me. I even had periods of time where it would probably go about 2 weeks where I wasn't able to work, but the store manager, Mr. Sledge, he worked with me, and again, like I said, I worked all the way up through college. And once I graduated, I was looking for a company that had good roots in the community, where I had an opportunity to advance and I can actually make a difference. And I told my parents, I was like, I really want to go work somewhere where I can dress up every day. I want to wear a shirt and tie.
And that you was still in high school at this time?
I was in college
at that point.
Because I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And one day I was sitting down with my store manager, Mr. Sledge, and he asked me, he said, "So Courtland, how's your interview process going?" I said, "It's going. I've had several." And I told him what I was looking for. Again, the pillars that was on my plate. I want a company that's defined in the community, where I had an opportunity to grow, and I can dress nice when I go to work, and continue to grow with the company, and actually coach and bring up people. He was like, "Courtland, have you thought about Kroger?" I said, "It never crossed my mind, Mr. Sledge."
Wow.
It never crossed my mind. So at that point, right after that, we had that conversation. It was a year later, the end of 03. I ended up going into our management training program called MD1. And when I tell you, we went through it was a 16-week process, and Mr. Sledge, he was this big pillar with the company. I mean, I think at that point he was 30 plus years in when I met him. He pretty much set me up to where I had training on the front end. I had training in the produce department. I had training in receiving. I had training in fuel. I had training in grocery, dairy department, frozen. I did it all. And then I ran the store in the evenings. It was called Manager in Charge, MIC. He introduced all that to me and gave me the opportunity. So when I went to the training, I was leaps and bounds ahead of where they thought I was going to be.
Right.
And so that was a 16-week process. And when I tell you the Kroger company, we train. It is serious.
So it's not just, okay, the people we see the people in Kroger with the blue shirt or something, and that's just it. That's only the thing they do with blue shirt, walk around, bread on aisle 6. There's more to it than that.
Oh, it's a lot more to it. I mean, it's a real education about retail.
Wow.
I mean, the total operation, the things that go on behind the scenes, outside of the inventory, the groceries on the shelves. It's amazing.
Really,
it's amazing, and it's a lot. And we have to get a lot of training in,
Gotcha.
from the department managers to the co-managers, whereas we call them assistant store managers now, and then the store leaders like myself as a store manager.
Mm-hmm.
But once I went through that process, my first store was out in Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I started out at, and I think I jumped from that store to Appling to Dexter to Millington. Once I left Millington, I became a store manager for the first time. Now this was starting out in 2003, and I became a store manager for the first time. I can't remember what year it was, but put it like this: I've been a manager with the company for 13 years now, and I've actually been with the company for this January be 21 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, but hold up, wait a minute, because see. Listeners, if you're just joining us, we have in the studio Mr. Courtland Perry. He's a store manager for Kroger. But you started off, because I'm going back to the humble beginnings.
I got you.
Bagging.
Yes.
You was bagging groceries in the beginning.
I was bagging groceries, had no clue what I was doing, had no clue I was going to get a lunch. I was shocked. I called my mom to tell her, I said, Mom, you realize I get a lunch? She was like, you got a lunch? I said, yeah.
Mom gonna blow it up. Right.
I said, what am I supposed to eat? She said, something just to keep you going. So it was all new to me. The company's unionized. I had no clue exactly what a union was.
Right.
But that started my educational process in the business world, because I started looking up what unions were about, started paying attention in class what unions were based on and what it was about. And I didn't sign up initially, but when I knew what it was going on my senior year, I signed up for it. Because
senior in college or high school?
Senior in high school.
So you knew about unions and all that in high school?
Yes, actively involved with it.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Well, look, we're gonna go to a quick commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, text your friends, text family members. Please tell them to tune in to 88.5, because when we come back, we're going to jump in and talk a little bit more, because I don't want to just say from bagging groceries to store manager, but it's a process, hard work. He had to educate himself, and we're going to look to talk some more about, what he had to do. What was the things that he had to do to maintain that, because of consistency, discipline, studying, is all part of that. So you're listening to Brother John and Courtland Perry. We are live on 88.5. We are the voice of Shelby County. Brother John, and I'm here with Courtland Perry as we dive more into his story. If you're just joining us, Courtland Perry was a former graduate of Bolton High School. He worked at Kroger's. I'm talking about he came in the door at age 16 at Kroger, bagging groceries, to now he's a store manager. But we're going to talk about that as we get a little more into it, because I'm thoroughly excited, because he's a product of our city, our school system. He stayed in the city, went to University of Memphis, ran track, and he stayed working at Kroger. And I want to touch back a little bit for some of those that just joined us. You continued to work at Kroger while you were at college. How did they respond to the track schedule? You were out of town on Saturdays or traveling. How did that play a part?
It was huge, and developing who I am right now because the company, they were willing to work with my schedule, but I had to be responsible enough to give them plenty of advance notice. So every year when we would get our schedule, I would print it off and I would give it to my department manager and also give her my practice schedule as well. And she would work around. We tried working me multiple times throughout the week, but that was pushing it for me. So we settled with, I would work on Wednesdays to close the evening because at that point I was working in accounting, and that was my major in school. So I did the accounting in the evenings on Wednesdays from 5 to 10. I closed, and then on the weekends I would work in guest care accounting, supervise, do everything on the front end for the company whenever I wasn't out of town with the school. And
University of Memphis, they was cool with that as well. They were cool with you working, or that was your own thing.
I wasn't at that point. My scholarship wasn't 100%, so I still had a percentage out there that was left. So it allowed me to have a job with limited hours that I could work in, and I took advantage of it.
Wow. Now, okay, we got the sports out the way. We got the beginnings out the way.
Yeah.
Now, let's move forward. 2016, fall of 2016, in Memphis, Tennessee. There's a new building in Midtown that's under construction right now. Please let the people know what's going on with that building.
Well, we have our new Union store that we're currently in the process of building that will open this fall, and that's going to be the new store here in Midtown, taking the place of the old one that we knocked down and rebuilt. And it's a paradigm. It's a groundbreaker. I mean,
now we got to let them know now. Now, you heard them say it's a new building, right? And those that's listening, you can't have a store running optimal without what's it called? Help me out, Mr. Perry. What's the word? You got to have a person that's
the store leader.
The store leader. And who might that be, Mr. Perry?
That would be me. I received a phone call about 5 weeks ago when I was on vacation, asking me would I be interested in being the first store manager of this new store that we're going to build on Union. And of course, my answer was yes, emphatically, off top, without a doubt, because it never crossed my mind. I'm too busy worrying about what I got to do here on a day-to-day basis in the store that I was at, off of Kirby and Poplar. So, but I was honored, humbled, and once I got through that phase and I started thinking about everything that this encompassed, this is huge.
Wow.
This is huge. This is going to be our premier store in the Delta Division.
So when you say premier store, like, are you going to get items first? You know, I do not, please don't judge me, y'all. You know how some stores get the Jordans first? You know, this store get the Jordans first. Are you going to be that store that y'all might get some new products first before some of the other Krogers? Or give us an example of how this Kroger is going to be.
Yes, we will pretty much mainstream the processes and programs that we have coming down the tube, meaning that this store will be a training catalyst for our division.
Gotcha.
In what way, I can't really say at this point because we're still ironing out all of the details of it. But I do know that with this kind of facility that we have, which we don't have anywhere else in the Delta Division across the states, it's huge. And I just walked the store this afternoon with our president and merchandisers, and it is amazing.
Never seen Kroger like this.
It. I have to go to Michigan next week to visit 4 stores to look at the process because it's 2 levels. We have our sales floor level here on ground right here, and then under the floor is where all of our preparations and coolers and all the work pretty much
takes place.
Done. And we have 4 elevators, and we're going to bring the product up to the sales floor. And what I'm preaching to my store team as we build it right now is understand that top floor is the show.
That's the show.
That's the show. And when we get on that floor, we're going to give our customers the expectation of what they're looking for when it comes to having a excellent shopping experience in our store. I don't want my customers to just say they like my store. I want them to say they love my store, and this is their store.
Wow. So the young fella from Bolton High School, so many years ago, now is the store manager of a brand spanking new Kroger in the same city that you graduated from. Man, that's big, you know, and that's why I was so excited, you all that's been listening from the beginning, because anytime we have somebody that came from our school district, especially a 90% African American school district, and now a store manager, I mean, that is big. And I got to give shout out to my man Michael Woods, because he saw the show a couple of days ago. And I said, well, if you know somebody, you know, he said, well, maybe my wife. And maybe he said, I got somebody. And that's all he just said, I got somebody, hooked it up. And I got to give him his props, because you wouldn't be here if it was for him dropping that bug in my ear. So that's how all this is connected. And imagine the young people that can listen and see this and see, man, I can do it too.
And John, that's the big difference, because Michael and I have been friends for years. I see Michael as a brother,
right? And
we have to, as a group, as a community, understand that we must continue to uplift each other.
Mm-hmm.
We must continue to uplift each other. And I wouldn't know about this if Mike hadn't told me, but because we were having a conversation, I told him, hey, Mike, I'll be the store manager at the Union store. He's like, yeah, that's right down the street from me. I said, yeah, you know, we can do lunch. And I told him, I said, well, my big thing is going to be community involvement.
Oh, yes, sir.
And he called me the next day. He was like, you know, I have someone I want to put you into contact with. And once he did that, he gave me your number. You got mine, and everything else is history.
Right.
Here I am.
And then audience, I told him, I said, look, send me a picture. You know, we want to do some promo, right? And my man, you know, he didn't know. He sent me a picture. He said this is all he had. But the thing I said, man, we want to do this right. So he sent me a new picture this morning, man. We put out the flyer, and we made this thing happen, man. I said, because I wanted to do my best to make sure that I represent you and what you've been through. I mean, come on, man. This is like VIP status, you know. I mean, but tell us about making it and staying in Kroger. I'm sure with some ups and downs. I'm sure you've been through a lot. But what was it that helped you to keep going? I mean, like, what made you say, yeah, this is it. I'm going as far as I can go. What was it?
Well, when you look at when you're in the company and you look at the structure of how Kroger is, literally, you can go from being a bagger to running the company.
Yes, sir.
Our Dave Dillon, who just retired a couple years ago, he was our CEO of the company before Rodney McMullen. Mm-hmm. He started off as a courtesy clerk. So why can't I do that? Exactly. And that's what I told myself. And the processes that we go through in order to put groceries in the shelf and plan, that's the biggest piece. And it's a simple process.
Right.
All I had to do was apply myself.
Apply. You hear that, students? Did you hear that word? Apply.
Yes.
Apply yourself.
Yeah, and the rest came from working hard and being consistent with how I was doing things in the company. I came to work every day. I came to work when they called me. I came to work when they didn't even need me.
Really?
See if they needed some help.
So that's doing that extra. That extra.
It started from when I was a courtesy clerk. Mr. Sledge, my store manager. I know I keep bringing him up, but
shout out to Mr. Sledge. No, we give him his props. Mr. Sledge, thank you.
When I was a bagger, I worked 55 hours one week.
55 hours.
Yeah. On my spring break, because they kept calling me. Different people kept calling me to come in, and he called me up to the office. He was like, Courtland, I just want to first just sit you down and talk to you, introduce and see you. I wanted to meet the bagger that worked 55 hours.
Wow, that puts you that put you on the map, to say.
And he brought that up when we were sitting in his office after I graduated college, and I was looking for a job. He reminded me of that, and he was like, you're the kind of person that the company is looking for and need. And like I said, he opened my mind, because it never crossed my mind.
Dang, man. So, all right. Before we get out of here, you talking to. I want to create this mindset for you.
Okay.
There's a lot of Courtland Perrys in Shelby County schools right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they want a way out. You know, they want to be a Courtland Perry. They want to be a Michael Woods and different people in the city. What is something that you can tell them or leave with them because you made it? You're making it. I think you're still growing. You know, it's the path is just like, yeah, he's going to go higher. But what is something that you can leave with them, the young people, as a way of, look, hang in there, you can do it because I did it?
I would start with this, John. The basis of where you are right now in your life.
Mm-hmm.
This is your big moment, and don't take for granted every little piece that your life is evolving from. For example, if you're in school right now,
mm-hmm.
that's your job. That's what you do. You're gonna wake up in the morning. You're gonna go to school. That's no different from me waking up in the morning and going to work right now.
Right.
Show up on time. Be respectful to your supervisors. That's your teachers, your faculty members, all of. No different from me being respectful from my district manager, who's my immediate direct boss, and my executives in the company, merchandisers. They're other bosses. You know, do your work the way you're supposed to. Follow directions and do it to the best of your ability. Be the best you can be, and remember that lack of preparation on your end does not mean a sense of urgency for somebody else.
Woo!
Okay. I learned that all through my life up to this point. I live by it because I want to always be prepared for whatever situation is. So again, if you're in school, or for example, a courtesy clerk coming to work, it's your first job. You don't feel like it's a real job, but guess what? You're building habits that will stay with you for the rest of your life in the workforce. Whether it's a real job or not, it's a job.
It's a job.
And the expectation of you is to do what's being asked of you that you agreed to do when you walked through the door.
Right.
You know, that's all I would say. And then on the other side of it, just don't take no for an answer. Continue to persevere and work hard at whatever you want to do, because as cliche as it is, anything worth having is worth working hard for.
Yes, sir.
It really is, and you can do whatever you want to do. You truly can. I mean, and as an African American at this point right now, we see that with President Obama and with the opportunities that we have right now that we didn't have 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago.
That's right.
You know, use what we have right now. Stop worrying about what you don't have at the moment, because you can get to that.
You can.
Just folks, stay in the moment and work on the things that you can control.
There you have it, man. So look, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So much, because I'm telling you, I'm gonna blast this out. I mean, as soon as I can, because to see people like you make it, it's like we made it. You know what I'm saying? See, Mr. Woods, he made it. We made it, and we need to put more of these examples out there for our young people to see, and then that's how we can make some changes in our city and stuff like that. All right. So thank you so much, man. Our doors are open. So Kroger, you said outreach and community. Yep. We right there with you. So whatever you need from 88.5 C19, man, we would love to partner. Whatever we could do, let's make it happen, because we didn't meet by happenstance.
Well, let's do that.
Let's do that, all right? All right, y'all. There you have it. Another homegrown excellence. And it's not homegrown average, Mr. Perry. It's homegrown excellence. It's okay to say that word, excellence. We can strive for that. A wonderful time, a great interview. Thank you, Mr. Woods. Thank you to Miss Carolyn Mitchell, a.k.a. Christy Lane, for holding down the camera work, the switcher work, handling all that business like that. So we a team up in here. Thank you for listening. It's 88.5 FM. It's Brother John, your brother from another mother like no other. And Mr. Courtland Perry, store manager of the new soon-to-open Kroger on Union Avenue. Ain't that something? All right, y'all, back to the music. Thank you for tuning in. We're up out of here.